Welcome to the Coop with Kit. My name is Kit Hoover, and I have been lucky enough in my 30 years in this business to interview some of the most iconic, badass women out there. We all know that girlfriends give the best advice, and they're all coming to the Coop. We're talking career, marriage, kids, sex, aging, all of it. I truly believe we are just hitting our stride. All right, my chickens, let's get into it. Layla, what did your dad, the GOAT, Muhammad Ali, say when he heard you wanted to get into boxing?
He said, don't do it. I don't want you to do it. It's not for you. It's not for women. And I want you to do it.
Jenny McCarthy, I heard you were bullied in high school. What happened?
I went to an all-girl Catholic school, and it was very scary because they did light my hair on fire at one point. I just bottled it all up because I was too embarrassed. I thought my mom would think I'm a loser.
Ugh, Miss Katie Couric, you've had to grieve way too many loved ones. How have you processed all of that?
You know, someone was describing it as like you lose a limb and then you get like a prosthetic and you just keep going, but maybe you limp a little, right?
Kat, Cora, you little ceiling breaker, how did you handle coming into an all-male profession as a chef?
There was a lot of old guard European instructors that did not like the fact that women were now being allowed into the school. And they made that really clear. There was one instructor who said, you know, why are you here? You should be back in Mississippi barefoot and pregnant.
Gabby Reese, you have one of the all-time greatest love stories ever. Tell me about it, because I know it was bumpy.
Laird and I, we didn't have great skills going into our marriage. So my tendency was like, I'm gonna run away. And he was pretty still and was like, are you done with all of that? I had to learn to be a little braver.
I would get in relationships and always have to downshift like a gear in a car. I'd always be here and then they wouldn't be. So I'd go, let me lower my light. Let me lower my frequency because he's not there yet. And I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. They gotta meet me here.
And of course, we get a little rowdy. Katie, what is in your bedside drawer?
I'm not telling this.
Kat, would you say that intimacy is your love language?
I have like a really, really high sex drive. And so, can I say that?
Yeah, yes, please,
Talk about that.
get it
I have
up.
a really, really high sex drive. I like sex every day.
Okay, wait a minute, Cindy Crawford. Tell me the story about when George Clooney, as a thank you, gave $1 million in $20 bills to 14 of his best friends, including your husband.
The best story I heard from that is some of the guys came home and told their wives, guess what? George gave us $50,000.
That's genius. Jenny, funniest thing that happened posing nude for Playboy.
This is where I learned what mason brushes were. I was standing in my pose and you can't move for like 8 hours when you're shooting the centerfold one. You're just like stuck. And this makeup artist walks over and she's like, fluff, fluff, fluff.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. And she just fluffed my push with a Mason Pearson brush.
That's a real fluffer.
A real fluffer.
And we hear exactly how they're thinking about their next chapter.
I'm ready to go back to work, like in a bigger way, because it's so easy for us to feel overlooked, forgotten.
So I think that once the kids left and I was explaining to one of my friends, it's like the ghosts of the children are everywhere.
People said you had 15 minutes of fame 30 years ago, you're still here. And they're like, just shut up and go get some modeling jobs. I'm like, oh, they don't know me. I'm a manifester.
I've learned, laughed, and reflected on so much through these conversations, and I hope you will too.
Can I tell you, I have to interrupt because I've done 30 years of interviews. By far my favorite interview I've ever done. Your questions are so good. They're so fun to answer. They're not surface level. You did your homework and they're mind expanding, soul expanding.
Anyway, you're the best. You just exude happiness and joy. And I just love every time I get to see you and spend time with you.
Thank you, ladies. Remember, as my mom Bug always says, life is not a dress rehearsal. Make it count. Welcome to the Coop.